Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at a dragon deck for Unlimited. This one was a little more interesting on my part. I actually quite enjoyed playing it. It's not super expensive. You're only running 4 legendaries total, which is a pretty reasonable amount for this deck in particular. Of course, you could probably get away with running another Dragonplate Warrior over an extra Sun and Moon, or just swap up other cards in general and even make it more budget orientated, but I found this was quite a comfortable deck to play. So the biggest thing about this deck, of course, is the Dragonclaw Pendant, which ups all your damage by +1 for each Dragonclaw Pendant on board, which is awesome. Of course, you combo that with something like Dragonplate Warrior and the amount of pure spells that you're playing, or just in general cards that aren't followers, and it does absolutely amazing work. On top of that, you have things like Lindworm and Bahamut, which help you clean up or finish off games, and the rest is just boosting all that up and clearing boards consistently. So, Blazing Breath, Breath Salamander, Force the Dragonute, Dragonquake, Conflag, all cards that remove things, Execution for dealing with amulets, so Tenko decks die, Water of Orcas fills your board, so you have bodies, you know, you've just got everything you could need for this deck. So, we're going to get right into it and check it out. So the first matchup is against Shadow. Shadow in rotation, Unlimited, because rotation is the other format. Anyway, in Unlimited can be quite awkward because you do have things like Mordecai, which are a nightmare to deal with consistently because they just don't die. Mordecai in rotation, on the other hand, as a legendary is much more manageable because he's very easy to remove permanently, whereas this Mordecai, not so much. Everything else about Shadow is usually pretty reasonable and not too bad to deal with. Of course, Lady Grey, not really a problem for me, so I do start off pretty easy with the White Worm. No real reason to hold on to it. They do decide just to go face, which doesn't really serve me any purpose, honestly. You don't run much healing outside of these little dragon nests, because healing really isn't your big focus. And ramping isn't a massive focus, it's just a nice addition. So really, you're just kind of pushing whatever you can get.
I'll be home soon.
So they do go for the Abellinus play, which means I pretty much have to deal with that immediately. There's no point really doing anything else, as Bellinus would just kill that straight away. But a couple of Orcas at least gives us a board, and with an Evo we can make sure they're not taking advantage of this 1-2 to draw more cards, which is what we really need to worry about. Corpse Lord of Woe on its own is actually pretty reasonable. With an Evo, it's a little bit of a problem, but because they're most likely killing off that 4-3 there, really no issue at all. We'll kill that off very easily. Execution, pretty nice target honestly, as Execution isn't good for much, but clearing it in the Shadow match with that is pretty well. It did let us keep the little Orca up as well. So we haven't got any ramp that we can really abuse, but we can at least try and get some more cards. With a nice Amaterasu, we can at least heal, which is what we want. Sometimes that little bit of healing can make all the difference in this deck. Sometimes you might want Tsukiyomi, but most of the time Amaterasu is just the better play. It's just got a little bit more of a solid body and makes it a bit harder to get rid of. There is Feria Spirit Maiden. Looks like they're just using that because they don't have much else to bait out. I did have one match I played against Shadow, and they just literally killed me with that, like straight up. It was quite vital that I just got tanked. Now we did get a nice Dragonclaw Pendant. It does burst all our damage up massively. So with the Evo here, we're actually adding +4 to this board's damage total, which is really amazing. So we did get a nice 10 damage that turn. And we do have Dragonplate Warrior, which means we can set that up as soon as possible. But we are probably not even going to need that, or maybe we will. Let's see. Dragonplate Warrior, yeah, still the better play. I don't think I could have actually dealt 1 damage that turn anyway. So playing Dragonplate Warrior was definitely the correct way to go, because now any spell we play will deal 2 damage. Even if they cleared this pendant, we would still get 1 for every single ping, and that would easily win this game. So Shadow didn't really pose a massive threat. It's only really a problem if you don't get a decent start. And the next match is Dragon versus Dragon. So they're using Aldous, and I've got Zoe here quite comfortably. Start off with really high cost cards, not good. Although this isn't much better, I probably should have kept the high cost cards, as I mean double Blazing Breath and Dragon Rend aren't great in the Dragon matchup to begin with. We did end up with a Dragon Oracle though, which is a good thing to get, especially since we can ramp quite comfortably up. And a second one, so it looks like our next turn is going to be pretty okay. Since we already start ahead of our opponent, we are going to be able to get very quickly ahead of them. And I do go for the single Water Evoker just to play it out early, get that spell counter up. We now are at 3 on the spell counter, which is great. Very easy to keep track of. I do decide to go face because I don't want to give them the ramp. Not so lucky though, they do end up getting the Ilea Dragon Sword anyway. So they are going to actually be able to ramp very, very quickly. They may even outramp me, speed-wise. Luckily I do pull the Breath of Salamander, which allows me to deal with this board without wasting too many resources. Although that wasn't the best board to have to use that on. So it looks like they're running a pretty standard ramp dragon deck, so that's not too surprising. It's very easy to know what to expect. They're probably just looking to ramp up big, ram us down. They're probably expecting me to go for something similar, but I don't really have a need to do that. So I do decide to use both Blazings here. It does raise our spell counter again and let me hold on to my AoE damage a little bit. And Izdraha, a little bit of a problem. I mean, that 6 damage definitely hurt, but the execution definitely comfortably deals with it. So we are at 12. I do go for double Dragonite, which is pretty useless right now. And we do get the Dragonplate Warrior, which is awesome. Being able to get that means I didn't have to waste my clears immediately. Although, with Suckwill coming down, I kind of wish I had. Because that's usually going to be Israfil, which is a huge threat to me. This is going to drop me down to 6 health, since they didn't use an Evo. And it's from here that things get a little more interesting. So, the Conflag at least allows us to deal with that and get 1 damage. We should be able to start pinging damage pretty quickly. They do go for the Draconic Fervor, looking for more cards obviously. Not much in their way though. And since I don't want to boost the Force of Dragonute, as I don't believe the Enhance will drop anyway, we only really can use the Dragon Rend Quake. Not bad though, it does open up a little more option when it comes to a combo turn. And a nice Dragon Claw Pendant, getting us that couple of damage. It really does make a huge difference when you can pull these off. Luckily we haven't seen an Israfil yet, and we do have the Lindworm, which is activatable, so we can go for a nice 13 damage with an Evo point, which puts them right in lethal range now thanks to that turn. And we don't see the Israfil play. That was the biggest turn. If we had have seen Israfil, it would have been over. Luckily, Lindworm is cleaning up this matchup very, very nicely. 13 damage, 2 face, Inquisition, definitely the way to go. So, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. We have been covering a lot of Unlimited decks. That's to be expected. Unlimited has a lot more variation in what you can play at the moment than, of course, Rotation does. So there's not quite as many decks to cover. I'm thinking of maybe doing a couple of just more fun videos for Rotation soon, where we just throw some stuff together and hope that it works. But we'll have to wait and see, as I really want to give you decks that are both interesting and fun, while at the same time also covering other decks that are purely just more competitive styled. So more to win the meta than to just have some fun. I like to have a nice mix of both, so sometimes you'll see fun decks, sometimes you'll see more meta decks. If you did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.